Bang! What's poppin', people? We're back again for another UFC Parlay Madness live stream. This is the fourth episode of my new show, which happens every single Friday, New Zealand time, which is probably Thursday for you. This is our full show. So we're going to try and make a lot of money, right? And I have done this show for 3 times previously. And the ROI for this show, which means the return on investment, is 200%. And we've only hit a couple of parlays because the way this show is structured is we only need to hit a couple of parlays or one parlay every 4, 5, 6 shows, and we're still in heavy profit. The last time we hit a parlay, I did it with my man MMA Line Mover. We hit multiple parlays, and one of the parlays we hit was 60-1, meaning that even if we lost our next 59 parlays, we're still in profit. That's the way the show's structured. So we're going to go through the entire card, break down the fights relatively quickly. We're not going to give in-depth breakdowns, but we will break down every single fight on the card. And we're going to take some parlay pieces from every single fight on the card. At the end of the show, right before we finish it, we're going to go through all of the potential parlay pieces and create multiple parlays for you. We usually create 5, 6, 7 parlays, and they're long shot parlays, guys. I mean, the smallest odds we're giving out is plus 600 for the most part, right? And we've even give out plus 6,000s. Like I said, we hit a 60-1 parlay just 2 weeks ago. So that's the way the show's structured. We're going to get straight into it now. And without further ado, I'm going to bring my guest on. You know I have to bring my guest on because last time this guest was on, we completely smashed it. As I said, we hit a 60-1. We hit multiple other parlays. So yeah, man, shout out to my guest, MMA Line Mover. What's poppin', bro?
What up, James? How's it going, my man? I can't wait, dude. I have another good feeling about this one.
Yeah, I mean, we got to keep up the tradition now, right? Last time we were speaking, we made myself, yourself, and all of the viewers a hell of a lot of money. It was probably one of the biggest community cashes of all time because I still get messages to this day of people DMing me saying like, yo, that was a crazy parlay you hit 2 weeks ago. Like, can we do another one? And I think we hit like 3 separate parlays on that show. We was just flying. So hopefully we can do it again, man. We have to at least get one just to keep up the tradition, man. So yeah, thanks for being here. And we'll get straight into it without further ado, man. I want to bring up my screen so everyone can see. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. If you're watching live with me now, what's popping? Say hello, introduce yourself. We got Eric Betts Fight saying this parlay stream is the new best MMA gambling show to come around in a long time. Super fun and super profitable. Thanks for putting in the work, James. Thanks for watching, Eric. I appreciate you. You're welcome. I'm going to continue to put in the work and I'm going to continue to bring you some banger parlays. Now, like I said, we ain't going to hit parlays every single week. That's not the way the show is structured. So I was a little bit apprehensive with creating this show because I knew that it's going to be very volatile, right? Like there's going to be weeks, multiple weeks in a row we don't hit, but we only need to get one to profit for like the next 10 weeks, right? So I was a little bit apprehensive because people were annoyed if you don't hit bets every single show, but I thought, fuck it, man. The smart people will stay with me and the idiots will go, which is a good thing anyway, right? We kind of always want to be weeding out the idiots in our lives. So I feel like this show will do that. We got my man Glimbot, sup, Eric and James, and the obligatory, what's going on, gentlemen? Daz Files in the house. Shout out to Daz. We got There Will Be Blood. Let's make a shit ton of cash. You already know. Daz the man. Yeah, Daz is the man. Like, we all know that. MMA Line Mover, he's there. He's in the chat. He's everywhere. Big up, James. Big up you. YouTube User. Shout out to YouTube User. That is an epic name. My man Raj, Gerardo, Jorge or George, whatever you want to be called. What's up? What's up? Let's make this money. Esteban Pena, my man Esteban just got in. Let's go. Sean Hanning, the Dream Team. You already know this is the Dream Team, the Dream Chat. Most of these faces I recognize in the chat, man. So appreciate you sticking with me. I'm going to do my best. And I'm sure our boy JB, Jewish Better, he goes by 2 names, is going to do his best too. So first fight of the night, we got Daniel Marcos versus Arichi Lang. JB, I've spoken enough for now, so why don't you give us a little breakdown and maybe some angles that you want to attack this fight?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, Marco's training out of Florida. He's with JC Santana, who is like a strength and conditioning coach as well. Very interesting guy, but I just think he's a little bit overpriced here. The line on here says plus 165, but obviously that's not the case now. He's sitting up at around plus 215, and they're around the same age. I think one guy has more UFC experience. Yeah, he did get knocked out by Zahabi. That happens. It is what it is. It's part of the game. I think, Grant is a little bit older, a little bit overrated. So I think since that happened, people are going to overrate Marcos. And I just think there's value on a Richie Lang side, and the fight goes the distance on this one personally.
Yeah. So I like Daniel Marcos. He's the type of fighter that I like, not necessarily to bet on consistently, because his style isn't necessarily a style that's going to continue to win MMA fights, because he can be out-volumed. He's a very patient, cerebral striker, which can work. But when you start getting to the upper echelons where you can't just cleanly outstrike people, you will get out-volumed. Kind of what we saw with Sean Strickland and Israel Adesanya. Obviously, that's a bit of an outlier fight, the two best fighters in the division, bar a couple of other guys. But those fighters that are very patient, that don't really separate themselves, they have close fights, right? Like Israel Adesanya, even before that fight, he's losing against Yoel. I mean, it was a close fight against Yoel Romero. Even the Bobby Knuckles rematch was a close fight. Daniel Marcos is that similar archetype. I feel like if he isn't getting big moments, he can go to close fights. Even that fight against, I think it was Lewis on the Contender Series. I watched that a few days ago. He won cleanly, but then he gassed out in round 3. And, he lost round 3. He was still landing good shots in round 3, but he definitely gassed out in that fight. Just overall, his style maybe isn't the best style to win MMA fights, but it's a style I love watching. I mean, I've been striking for many, many years. Like, that's the first martial art I ever done was Thai boxing, right? It was actually boxing when I was super young, but Thai boxing is the main martial art that I first fell in love with. So I love strikers in general, right? If you're a wrestler, you're going to love wrestlers. If you're a jiu-jitsu guy, you're going to love jiu-jitsu guys for the most part. So I do like these strikers that are very, very cerebral. They can make adjustments on the fly. A lot of people can't make adjustments in fight. They make adjustments fight to fight. But Daniel Marcos definitely makes adjustments in fight. So I do like Daniel Marcos' style. In this fight, is he a little bit wide at minus 250? I mean, it's very hard for him to cover that price just because of his style. Like what I just said, he can be a little bit lower volume. But I think he's clearly the better striker. I mean, Richie Lang ain't going to take him down, right? Like, I'm pretty confident that Richie Lang ain't going to take him down. If anything, I think Marcos could potentially get a takedown. Like, I don't think it's impossible for him to get a takedown. And so, if he does do that, maybe he does cover the line. Overall, I guess the line's a bit... I don't even know if I'd say the line's wide. I kind of just say the line is fairly accurate at minus 250. I probably would have Daniel Marcos about minus 250. I just think he's the much better striker in a striking fight, really. I think he's going to be able to stay on the outside. I think he's going to be able to kick the leg easily. I think he can land front kicks up the middle like he did on his Contender Series fight and like he does throw in a lot of fights. I think he can land some solid knees if Richie Lang's pressures too much, like he landed on Simon Oliveira.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think that's where if Richie Lang can pressure, that's going to be really important is those knees up the middle, because that's going to be what keeps Richie Lang off him.
Yeah.
I think I do agree with what you say. If this is at a striking at a distance, I do think Marcos pieces him up. But if Richie Lang can make this fight even just a little bit dirty, I don't even think he necessarily has to get takedowns. Just dirty box and get on the inside and make it ugly.
He'll need to do that, right? Because that's how he wins fights. He pressures forward, chin first, even though he seems quite tough. Even though he does get wobbled, he seems very tough. And, he lands boxing. That's really what he does. I had a big bet on the under in the Cameron Else fight, under 1.5, under 2.5, everything. It was giving me plus 120 for the under 2.5, I believe, which is absolute insanity. One of the biggest bets I've ever made. I played unders there. I played a Richie Lang KO. That's what he likes to do. He goes on the inside and he digs to the body very well. I just don't think Marcos will allow him to do that. I think Marcos is too good. I think Marcos' footwork is too good. I think his distance control is too good. I think his leg kicks are too good. It's not impossible, but I just think Marcos is gonna. I think Marcos is just a level above as an MMA fighter, and I think we're going to see that play out. So, what we like to do, this is for anyone who hasn't watched the show, right? We get the online notepad up here, and then we write every single money line that we think is the money line side, and then we also write down any props or parlay, any prop bets that we later add on into parlay. So, you think that the line is a little bit wide with Arichi Lang. I think that it's about accurate. So we'll write Arichi Lang there because you're saying it's accurate. I'm saying it's wide. So we definitely ain't going to write Marcos. So we'll write Arichi Lang down there. I don't really think I'm going to be adding it because I really do think Marcos is going to win the fight. But we'll just write it there. And by the way, guys, if you haven't watched this show before, you won't exactly know how it works. But we write down a ton of bets that potentially could be plus EV. So you're getting bets anyway, right? Like we're giving you our plus EV picks. But then at the end, we go through the entire amount of plus EV picks we've made, and then we make them into parlays, right? So just because I've written it down on here, we ain't necessarily going to use that for a parlay. That's how the show works. So you said that the fight's going to go to decision. I also believe it goes to decision. Do you reckon we take the over 2.5 or fight goes the distance? I kind of like the over 2.5 a little bit better. We've seen Marcos slow down in round 3 before, and I also feel like Arichi Lang's going to keep coming forward, which also means he could get knocked out at any point, you know. So I'm going to write the over 2.5 rounds there. Do you like that?
Yeah, I agree with you there, man. I would rather take the slightly more juice line there.
Yeah, it's not that much more juice, and we're getting.
I think it was minus 185 though. Yep.
Yeah, minus 185.
You got it.
I did a big review on my betting process, and I've created a new strategy for 2024. And one of the things I wrote down is that over the last 7 years of data, track data I have, you know, it seems like a better option for me is just betting the over 2.5 rounds instead of the goes to decision. Now, obviously, there's going to be a few occasions where I don't do that when the line is very wide, you know, when there's a big difference in the goes to doesn't go to decision or goes to decision. Sorry, goes to decision. But for the most part, I would be more profitable if I just bet the over 2.5 rounds, because there's been a couple of occasions where I bet the goes to decision and it finishes right at the end of the fight. And if I bet the over 2.5 rounds, I would have cashed. And also something that's very important, which a lot of the viewers can take home now as well, is that when you're betting on the over 2.5 rounds, right, it's mentally easier to make that bet over the long term, because even if it's more profitable to bet the goes to decision, the 1 or 2 times where you bet the GTD and you lose, that's going to mentally fuck you, right? And we also have to understand the mental aspect of gambling. It's the most important aspect of gambling, I always say, right? The mental aspect. And I'd rather sacrifice a small amount of profit if I'm going to be in a better mental space because of it. And not losing, not getting upset, not getting angry, not feeling like you have to chase your losses because you lose on over 2.5 on a GTD play when you could have bet over 2.5 rounds and won. It's better for me to do that long term. So, you know, even if I'm less profitable, I'm still happy to do that because I'm going to be more profitable because my mental space is going to be better, which will allow me to make better bets moving forward, right? We always have to keep our emotions and our mental space in check. That's something that's not spoken about at all, really, in the gambling space. Not too much. Definitely not the MMA gambling space, but it's something that's extremely important. Once you start...
I think you're the only person I've heard talk about that.
There's not many people that do it. And, like, I'm not speaking on anyone specifically. Everyone's got their place and makes content. But I think one of the big reasons a lot of people don't speak about it is because they don't do it full-time, right? They're not full-time gamblers, meaning that they don't really understand the intricacies of gambling full-time. Of course not. They do it as a hobby, you know, which is fine. It just means they can't speak on every, you know, a wide range of the entire topics of gambling. And something that's super important that fucked me up a lot of times, man, is the mental side of gambling. So, yeah, I always like to get that stuff across, you know. Sometimes it can be not as exciting as speaking about who's going to win a fight, but it's way more important, man. So I'd rather say the important stuff than the exciting stuff. Speaking of the exciting stuff, we ain't really got... I mean, Hyder Emil's kind of exciting. I don't know if we want to call this one exciting, but I'll let you take this one away, bro, because I've just gave a long speech on the mental side of gambling. So why don't you bring us back to the
dude, you're going to hate me because I don't have a great read on this fight whatsoever. I think these guys are both kind of low level, but Fernie, I believe, is coming in on short notice, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's going to try and go for the finish, man. And fight ends inside the distance. I think he either gets finished or finds a finish. I think he could find a sub on Emil, possibly. And just because we've seen Emil subbed in the past, that's the only reason I think that. And, you know, if Fernie gets on top or rocks him, Fernie doesn't have like anything that he does crazy. I think his boxing's pretty sharp, though. The fighter coach connection that he has as well interests me. Like, you know, that's something that I like to talk about. Like, there's a few fighters on this card that are really close with their respected coaches. Like Kawamba and Dewey Cooper are like, you know, really close. Dan Ige is, you know, Eric Nixick's pupil, almost Brad Tavares as well. Yeah, it's just something that I mentioned. Just Saif Saud and him have a good rapport. I think he's just been kind of fed to the wolves. This is probably one of his, you know, I want to say easier because he had the option to fight Journey Newson, wasn't able to get the job done there. I don't really rate Journey Newson that high, and I'm gonna just have to pass on this one, man. But I could see violence under 2.5 at plus 185. Kind of interests me just looking at the board. But it's nothing I feel crazy strong about. I have way better reads on this card.
Yeah, so we agree almost entirely. I don't have a great read on this fight, but the under 2.5 definitely interests me. I'm actually surprised to see that like at plus 185. I wouldn't have expected it to be that line. I actually didn't know it was plus 185 till I've just seen it right now. So that's strange. I mean, someone said it in the chat as well. Glimbot said, like, it's going to be a high-paced fight. And yes, Fernie seems very tough. Not been finished in the UFC yet. But yeah, it's going to be a high-paced fight, and both fighters are going to bring it. I mean, those are the type of fights that you want to end inside the distance. I know that Haider went to decision on his Dana White's Contender Series fight. I don't know what bet I made there. I feel like I made a bet on that fight, and it didn't cash. I actually want to see what bet I made on that fight. But, like, Haider's going to bring it. Fernie's going to bring it as well. You know, you mentioned Fernie against Journey Newson. He was the favorite there. And I bet on Journey Newson. I couldn't believe he was the favorite in that spot. And he kind of let himself down, though, Fernie, in that spot. He kind of looked like it was his debut. He didn't look good. Yeah, man, I don't have a great read on it, but I feel like...
what are some of the props on this? I can't... just like KO, TKO, all that stuff. It would be down more. I'm just curious.
TKO 325, Garcia TKO 600, okay. Garcia submission 1200.
I mean, Emil TKOs was taking the action, but I could see Emil getting subbed or getting the knockout. That's kind of how I see a finish happening in this fight. Would you agree? Or
yeah, I mean, I feel like anything can happen. I feel like Emil could probably shoot takedowns, and you know, once it gets into the grappling scenario, I don't know. I didn't like how Emil looked on the Dana White Contender Series, to be honest, and so I feel like he could get submitted, and the submission lines are huge, like 1,200 for both of them, which is quite interesting when you have like a big favorite. You know, their submission lines are the same, but then the knockout lines are completely different. Fernie's tough, but I don't know, man. It's going to be a high-paced fight. I feel like anything can happen. I wouldn't really favor one over the other too much. Definitely not double anyway, like they've got here.
Fair enough.
I'm trying to see what bet I made on Haider Emil. Okay, yeah. So I bet Emil inside the distance there because I thought the guy just pushes a lot of pace. The guy pushes crazy pace, and he gassed out in that fight against Sonmez. Sonmez gassed out too. They both gassed out, and it was a sloppy fight that went to a decision. But there's a reason why I bet Emil inside the distance there. Do you know what I mean? Like, the guy brings it. I didn't expect him to gas out the way he did. It turned into a sloppy fight. I remember everyone was moaning that he got signed, but it was like kind of a war. You know what I mean? So I do kind of understand why they got signed. But the guy's going to bring it, man. I mean, yeah, I like the under there. We'll write the under in. We'll also write Garcia because I don't really see how Garcia's plus 170. But I'm also not interested in him at plus 170. I can't lie. I think I'd need plus 180 or higher. And I know, like, as there's not too much of a difference there. But I specifically said to myself, if Garcia gets to like plus 180 or above, I'll probably bet him. And he's almost there at the moment. I do think he's the side though. And then under 2.5 rounds is plus 185. I mean, me personally, I don't really need to add a KO or submission there. I think both of them are kind of like, I think kind of just guessing. So I just like the under 2.5. Do you have a specific method of victory?
Nah, I think I'm good with that, man, honestly.
Like you said, man, we don't have to force it. We both don't really have a big read on this one. So we'll move to the next fight. Next fight is Palga versus Guskov. This is an interesting fight. I'll take this one away. So I bet on Bogdan Guskov against Volkan Ozdemir. Yeah, he was a powerful striker coming in. Hadn't done too much in MMA. Obviously, we didn't know what he was really made of. His regional scene wasn't fighting the highest level. He did seem to have some power, did seem to have some fast hands. So I took the shot, man. I don't mind taking those type of shots. Big, powerful striker comes in. I knew he was going to land on Volkan. Volkan can be hit. And, you know, Volkan got hit a couple of times and then was just a better fighter. You know, it seemed also to me that Bogdan definitely had some UFC jitters. It was his UFC debut there. And I don't think he performed maybe as good as he would perform. He also tapped instantly to the submission. Feel like he kind of panicked there. It was an insta tap, which you never like to see. You never like to see insta taps. It's just a bad sign at the end of the day. It's a really bad sign, to be honest. But we also have to say that Volkan was able to get on top of him there in dominant positions, and Guskov got back to his feet. You know, he got back to his feet, and then he started landing big shots on Volkan Ozdemir. And then once he got rocked on the feet, and then rocked again with that beautiful check hook, that's when Volkan really dominated on the ground, you know, because he did get a takedown before that, and he couldn't do anything on the ground to Guskov. But obviously, once Guskov took the shot to the chin, he was wobbled. He kind of just wanted out from there. That's why I believe we see the insta-tap when he locked in that rear naked choke. This is a tough fight for me to break down because I don't really rate Palga. He doesn't have much finishing upside anytime he fights. But, like, he will push a... I'm not saying he will push a pace, but he'll go a hard 3 rounds. You know what I mean? We can trust him to go 3 rounds if he doesn't get knocked out. I bet him against Modestas Bukauskas as a plus 160. And I feel like he got kind of robbed there. It was a very close fight, but plus 160, like it's always the line, right? It's always line dependent. So yes, okay, it was a close fight, but he's plus 160. So I'm allowed to moan. He should have clearly got the decision, right? It's always line dependent. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe if your fighter loses the fight by a close decision, but he's plus 200, you can moan. It's fine, isn't it? Like, you bet the right side. So it is what it is. He didn't get the decision there. Got knocked out by Mohammed Usman. Got a win via decision. Horrible, horrible fight. One of the worst fights I've ever seen against the Beverly Hills Ninja. To be completely honest, I didn't even watch that fight back for this tape study for this week. I probably should have, because it's kind of a similar archetype to Bogdan, someone who's like round 1 or bust, but I couldn't put myself through it. I know the fight. I've watched it before. I don't need to watch it again. Maybe I should have. Is what it is. I think Guskov's got a chance to knock him out. I definitely think he's got a chance to knock him out. I mean, he cracked Volkan Ozdemir. If he lands the shots he landed on Volkan on Palga, I definitely think Palga could go down. You know, Palga's maybe a top 40 fighter or something, top 30 fighter in the light heavyweight division, maybe in the UFC, top 35. I don't even know if they got 35 light heavyweights, but he's probably
it says right there he's 53 worldwide.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So in the UFC, he's probably like 33 or some shit, right? Which they probably only have about 33 light heavyweights. So what I'm trying to say is he ain't a great fighter, whereas Volkan Ozdemir is top 10 easily, right? So it's a big step down in competition for Guskov, a massive step down in competition. And what do we see when fighters take the step down in competition? We do often see they get wins, right? But Bogdan seems to have 1 round of gas to me. He doesn't really seem to have much more than 1 round of gas. He was shattered after 2 minutes in that Volkan fight. I don't know, man. It's a horrible fight. I don't really like it. I'm going to go with Bogdan Guskov purely for the line. I mean, he's still he's an underdog, even though he was only a plus 150 against Volkan Ozdemir, and now he's a plus 115 against Zach Pauga, but Pauga's like 100 times worse. I mean, if plus 150 was the right line, which probably not, but like also a little bit hard to say after a 3-minute fight making his debut, but probably wrong. You know, if plus 150 was thereabouts right, then plus 115 is obviously wrong. He should be minus 200 if he was plus 150, because I don't really think the styles are that much different here. Pauga's still there to be hit at the end of the day. And I've seen him knocked out by Muhammad Usman. Seeing him knocked out by Muhammad Usman and not finishing Beverly Hills Ninja is enough for me to say that Bogdan is the value side, even if the guy's got 1 round of gas. So I'll be looking at Bogdan KO 1-2 props. I'll be looking at that sort of thing, and I'll bring it up now, but I'll throw it to you, man. Do you have anything more to add on that one?
No, I would say pass if you have the opportunity to, but I think you're giving maybe Pauga a little too much credit. I don't know. I don't like the guy. Like you said, if we were betting Guskov against Volkan Ozdemir, it's like a little bit better odds. We got to take Guskov against Pauga. I feel like, you know, the guys that he fought that he was able to, you know, really beat weren't dangerous, whereas Guskov at least presents danger. He was hitting Volkan with shots, you know, putting him on skates early. So, yeah, I guess round 1 for Guskov makes sense. I don't even know if I trust Pauga to finish it if it gets past that. Like, he's not necessarily pushing a pace. And who knows, this one could just, I don't know, pass for me. Not enough data, and I don't feel good about it.
People are going to be playing Pauga 2-3, but like, how can you do that after seeing what he did to Beverly Hills Ninja? It's almost impossible, right? Like, Beverly Hills Ninja is a known flake more than Guskov. I mean, we've seen Guskov beat before in the regional scene and not look great, but we've really only seen him flake. I mean, once in the UFC, obviously, in his last fight against Volkan. We can't guarantee he's going to flake in 2 or 3 against the guy who couldn't make Beverly Hills Ninja flake. So I'd much rather lean into what I've seen Guskov do many times and what I've seen Pauga do, which is get knocked out. So I'm kind of battling with this one, JB. Guskov round 1 or Guskov round 1 KO 275. Like, I'm kind of leaning more to the KO.
I would just go with the KO, my guy.
You reckon?
Yeah.
You mean round 1 KO or
round
KO?
1 KO? Yeah, round 1.
Round 1 KO plus 275. We like that better than plus 205?
Personally, yeah, because I just don't see him getting a submission here.
Yeah, it can obviously happen, but sometimes you have to be a little bit more risky, guys.
Risky, yeah, I agree.
Plus 200 to plus 275. It's like it's a decent difference. It's not like, I mean, we're getting some extra percent there, and we're getting some extra juice. I don't mind it. I'll go Guskov KO 1. I'll also write, you know what? I'll also write just Guskov KO because I do think there is a slim chance he gets a KO in round 2. And like, just to put it out there, if you do want to play Guskov by KO, I would also take the round 2 because Pauga doesn't push any pace. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to round 2 and Guskov still has some juice, right? Like, also, it's not his debut. Like, he was landing shots on Volkan at minute 3. So can he land shots on Pauga in minute 6? I believe so. And obviously, if it does get to round 2, he gets 1 minute to rejuvenate himself. I'm also going to write the KO there just to cover us a little bit. So we're on the Guskov side there, but we're also saying that this fight is a bit of a big fat pass, but we're just writing the plus EV sides potentially. You have to always remember that, guys. We ain't advocating for Guskov bets. We're writing what we believe the plus EV side to be, if there is any. So that's a big difference, right? We'll see if we put them in the parlays later on in the show. So next fight, I'll let you take this one away as well. This is a very interesting fight. Not going to lie, I've gone back and forth on this fight. I know where I am now because of the line move, but I've definitely gone back and forth on this one in my head, my own head, thinking on how it's going to play out. And usually, guys, when I go back and forth, it's a sign for me to just pass completely because there's a reason I'm going back and forth. But JB, I'll let you take this one away in the form of a breakdown.
Okay, so I guess we're probably going to disagree on this one then. I'm a fan. I know Wells is a little bit old, but so is Griffin. I'm a fan of the camp Wells is coming from, and I just believe his style could be used a little bit at the older he gets. I know he slows down a little bit. He got submitted in his last fight with that anaconda choke, but I thought he was doing pretty good before getting caught with that. Griffin doesn't really present the same threat. I think this man could get the takedowns here. Jeremiah Wells, get on top. I think he's the side here personally, and I would even be willing to parlay him money line, just a little parlay piece. But that's my read on the fight, man. I think he got top control, and I'm just not a real big believer in Max Griffin, personally.
So you think more than likely he just gets takedowns and wins a decision?
I think he could get top control time in this fight, yes.
Decision or inside the distance?
I would say decision. I know KO's taken some money, so like he has been ground and pounded before. I believe it was Colby Covington that was able to get him out of there with the ground and pound. He gets some type of wrist ride position, just get some shots off, but it's all dependent on the ref there. So I don't want to get too deep into that. I would just say Wells money line for me is the side.
I feel like when Wells gets on top, he's quite position over submission, position over attack in general. Like he's not going to go out there and completely sell out for TKO.
Which I like. Like when I put money on people, I don't mind that, dude. Don't give up the position. Don't make a boneheaded mistake. Grind out the time, do the damage, and win me my money.
That's exactly how I felt when I bet on Preston Parsons as an underdog against Matt Semmelsberger last week.
Yep.
But Preston Parsons is the...
Or was it last week?
Yeah. I think maybe 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. But yeah, he was selling out for the positions and stuff. And I was kind of annoyed. Even though he ended up winning the fight, it's like the guy was... There's like 30 seconds left, right? And bearing in mind, if he loses position, he's in trouble because Semi hits hard. And he just looked a little bit flaky throughout that entire fight, even though he won handedly. He's trying to go for the crucifix. He's stepping over into mount with like 30 seconds left. I'm like, bro, you can easily just maintain top position on this guy. But he's like trying his best. He's grabbing the arm, pushing it under his leg. He's selling out for the crucifix, elbows, going for submissions, darts, chokes. I'm like, bro, relax, man. Like, it's cool. Just keep it cool and ride out the decision. He ended up getting the decision, but like that kind of got... I was in two minds because I was like, listen, he could get a finish. So it's kind of good, right? Like if he gets a finish, all of a sudden I'm going to completely change and go, yes, well done, mate. You did the right thing. But overall, like if we're taking 100 fights, obviously some fighters, this is better for them to go to for the finish, someone like Islam or Khabib, right? But overall, yeah, I do like fighters who kind of just relax and maintain top position. And that's something Wells will do. I'm interested in Wells' decision here. Me personally, minus 115 Mel's, plus 130 Griffin. I feel like fairly accurate from what we know. I would have taken Griffin up at plus 180s, plus 170s. I think he was close there at one point. I'm not taking him at plus 130. So I know you've given a breakdown on the fight, but in terms of the actual money lines and stuff, do you have any picks?
Yeah, I like Wells here, man. I think, like I said, I think he has success on top. I think the cage wrestling is going to present a problem for Max Griffin here. And, maybe he gets stuff takedowns in the open, but I think once his back is up against the cage, he's going to get put on the mat and funneled into certain positions that Wells knows just a little bit better than him and is going to be able to grind him out. So, yeah, I like the money line over the decision, personally.
So minus 150 for the money line. I don't mind Wells' decision. We'll chuck it in there because obviously, yeah, I don't mind it. Like, not saying I like it.
You can knock people out on the feet, but
knock people out on the feet. I don't see too much coming back from him when he's on the ground. Obviously, he's got that submission over Blood Diamond, but I mean, we won't go too in depth on that. As a New Zealand boy, shout out to him. But the guy ain't really a jiu-jitsu guy. He's gonna get submitted by a lot of people. I wasn't surprised to see that. Right? One of the funniest fights of all time. Do you remember when he ran into the cage?
Yeah, I was there.
Bro, that was hilarious. He's just tricking him,
Yeah, he ran behind the
Can you hear that? Can you hear someone's doing their lawn outside my house? Can you hear that?
No, I can't hear it. Nope.
Can you hear it now?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I just don't want to say if this is annoying anybody in the chat, let me know because I'll sort them out. I'll go out there and tell them they're not allowed to lawn mower their own grass.
Tell them all.
So,
I think that's what we got on this one.
when you live in a beautiful neighborhood, the old white people do their lawns quite a lot. That's the only annoying thing about living in a beautiful neighborhood. Obviously, I have to move out here. There's a lot more positive than negatives, but that's one of the negatives. These white people, these old motherfuckers, they love to mow their lawn every
I'm
2 days.
surprised. I'm surprised that's how it is out here. Out here,
Yeah,
they just hire like Mexican people to do it, bro.
To be honest, they do hire people to do it, but like the people that own the house.
Got
But
it.
yeah, someone's been barely audible, so happy about that. Yeah, so Wells money line, Wells decision. That's all good to me, bro. My neighbors are lawn maxing. Yeah, man. Good on them, bro. Happy to be in a neighborhood where the lawns are the only issue, because we come from the neighborhood where there's a lot more issues than the lawns, bro. So even though I'm moaning about it, I'm very blessed. Let's bring up this next one. Devin Clark versus Marcin Prachnio. I'll take this one away, bro. I think Clark's got a good stylistic matchup here. I think Prachnio's chin is waiting to be cracked. I know that the man Vita Petrino couldn't do it, but he didn't want to do it. I bet on Vita Petrino via KO in that spot at Juice, and there's a reason I did it. Now, I'm not good at picking these KO/submission props in general, and that showed in that fight, but the guy had never got a submission, then he goes out there and just dominates on the ground. I feel like Clark can do what Petrino should have done, which is get the knockout. I don't mind Clark via knockout here. I'll have to see the line for that, though. I think it was like, I can't remember exactly what it is. I'll bring it up now. I don't mind Clark via knockout. I also think that you can just take him down and grind him out and even get a TKO via elbows on the ground. I also think they can easily win a decision here. So, yeah, I like Clark all around. I mean, what's Prachnio going to do to win, boys? Prachnio is going to probably kick him, win via volume. I mean, Clark's tough motherfucker, man. It's not easy to finish Clark at all. Like, I know that he's a little bit flaky, but he's tough, man. Kennedy submitted him in a bit of a war. It was a 1-round or a 2-round war. Mirzakhanov finished him, but again, he showed a lot of toughness in that fight. Kutalaba, he went to a decision after getting completely destroyed. I remember the Menefield fight back in the day. Like, he's a good fighter, Clark, man. He's a good fighter. I think he's going to beat Prachnio, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. This is another one I don't have a really strong read on, but I think Clark is the side. I think Clark inside the distance is probably where the value's at. But I do generally need, like, I would say it's probably 80-20 on a knockout to the submission. I'll say 80% of the time, if it ends inside the distance for Clark, he gets the knockout. Probably like 20% he gets the submission. And that's generally how I lean this fight. I know the decision's going to be there, but I just don't think that does much for Clark at this point in his career. He was trying to fish Kennedy and Njoku, who's like a bigger, scarier guy. I think he's going to come at Prachnio knowing, the danger isn't as present, and I think he's going to aim for a finish here. So I like this fight to end inside the distance, and I think Clark's the side, so I like Clark to win inside the distance as well.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, sometimes it's kind of annoying because, I mean, when I do this show, it's later in the week. So obviously, I love Clark at minus 180s, and I sent all of my picks out to my members when Clark was like minus 190, and now he's minus 225. It's a different conversation that we're having. My man Damon Ling said here, he just subscribed to the Elite Zone on my website for a year, excited for the journey and to make piles of cash. Shout out to you for joining the money team, bro. You made a great decision. And if you just subscribe now, you'll be seeing that there was a bet that we bet like 4 days ago. I bet on Devin Clark, and I loved him. I think I got him a minus 180, minus 190. I can't remember exactly. It was definitely under minus 200, right? And I kind of liked him there. I still believe there's value at minus 225. It's just a bit of a different conversation. So now we look, how else can we play him? One thing I want to ask you, JB, like, it always feels weird calling you JB because everyone called me JB for my life, innit? Because my name's James Blissett. Calling someone else JB is just, it sounds weird, bro, but I want to keep saying MMA line mover. It's too much of a mouthful, bro. JB's just...
Bro,
we need to call you ML or something. I don't know, bro.
That's I'm cool with JB. Jewish better. That's cool with me.
Double JB. That's cool. Yeah, so JB, like, do you like the plus 375 on the KO or do you like the plus 210 ITD?
I think in this situation here, because I think Clark could have success on top, it's just better to take the ITD. But there could be value on a KO as well. Like I said, I think 80% of the time, it's probably the KO. You cut off a little bit there, I think. I can't hear you. Is it my audio? Oh, yep, it's yours. My guy. Oh, the Red Fox, Yanal Ashmos in the
You hear
building.
me?
Yes, sir.
They call you Ashmos, right?
Yes, sir. That's me. I am Ashmos. I knocked out Sam Patterson.
Yeah,
He
but
just actually got a win.
You also won me a lovely ticket on. Actually, I like Ashmos a lot because he won me a beautiful ticket when he broke his arm against Chris Duncan, and then he also helped the massive recency bias on Sam Patterson. And then he helped me cash that ticket as well, plus 130. Bro, do you remember that parlay we almost had last time we was on the stream?
Oh, my God.
Bro, that was crazy, that parlay. We were going to hit like 100 to 1 or something. Or maybe more than 100 to 1, bro. And
240 to 1.
And we missed it by 1 round, right? We had Patterson sub round 2, round 3.
Yes, bro.
But then he got in round 1. That was your parlay.
Heartbreaker, bro. Oh,
that
my
was
Lord.
So close, bro.
We're going to get another one.
That would have been like one of the biggest parlays of all time, man. That's cool.
I think it would have.
We're gonna do something this week, bro. We got something this week. So yeah, I'll write Clark KO if we want to get super degen mode, but I'll leave the ITD in there for us to be a little bit safer. And then I'll got the money line there if we want to be pussies. So next fight of the night, boys, we're getting through it now. Loma Lookboonmee versus Bruno Brazil. I'll try and keep this a little bit short because I got to do Narco stream after this, and there was a few miscommunications on the time. So I just decided to go first. I was going to do my stream after. So trying to hurry this up a little bit now. Bruno Brazil versus Loma Lookboonmee. We spoke about this a little bit. I don't really see how you get to Loma minus 270. Minus 300, sorry. It's too big for me. Minus 270 there. Minus 290 there. I mean, minus 310 there. We're seeing minus 315s. I don't understand how Loma is this big of a favorite. Yes, Bruno Brazil isn't a great fighter, but I will also say, oh no, I didn't know, bro. I'm getting told off now. I didn't know, but bro, it's cool. Like, there's only 80 live viewers. All the rest of the motherfuckers is gonna watch this later. So for anybody for all you 80 in here now, don't worry, I'm gonna flip this, bro. I got the gift of the gab. For all of you 80 in here now, you're getting an exclusive. There's a special guest, myself, on Narco stream after. So don't ruin it for the rest of Twitter. We're still gonna surprise the rest of Twitter. So yeah, back to the fight. I don't think Loma should be minus 300. I don't really see how you can get to minus 300 Loma. Yes, she's the much better all-round fighter. Yes, she's shown improved grappling. Yes, she improves fight to fight. Yes, she is going to be way better in the clinch. But she's a tiny girl. She should not be fighting at strawweight. It's just that's the lowest weight class in the UFC. She's an atomweight fighter. If she wasn't in the UFC, she'd be fighting an atomweight in Invicta. She's 5'1", one of the tiniest women people on the roster. Megan O'Leary style. She's fighting a girl who's 5'6", way bigger than her. And I just don't trust Loma at minus 250. I mean, I can give you like the stylistics, and I'm sure, JB, I'll let you go into that a little bit more. But like, Bruna, she's still shown some decent stuff in the UFC for me. This is a women's MMA fight. I can just see some fuckery happening here. I think Bruno Brazil can get her down. I think Bruno Brazil can submit Loma. Loma's still a Muay Thai girl at the end of the day. I know she's shown some decent defense against certain people, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not fucking with Loma minus 300. JB, I know you feel the same, man. Take it away.
Yeah, man. I think how this fight goes is, Bruna, she doesn't deal well with the pressure forward, right? Like, that's her thing. I don't think Loma necessarily is a crazy forward pressure fighter. She's waiting for you to come forward, actually, and that's where I think this fight could get a little awkward. When she does come forward, I feel like it's going to be a crash. Both girls are going to maybe land their shots, and then it's going to wind up in a clinch. Right, she does have good strikes from the clinch, but what happens when Bruna decides to shoot a single leg, and she's a lot bigger, or get her up against the cage and possibly get her on her back? Or what if she sweeps her with a heel hook and gets on top? We've seen, Loma in these leg lock situations and her corner screaming, heel hook, heel hook. Like, she doesn't necessarily, she does the right defenses, but, like, I think Brazil's jiu-jitsu is legit. She's gotten submissions in the past. I think this line is wide, as you said. And if it goes to decision, I like Brazil. I think if she gets on top, I like Brazil. Submission. And Loma, I think, could win this fight. We've seen Bruna chin before. So maybe she could get a knockout, but I just don't like her decision equity here. I think this fight could wind up playing a lot closer and a lot of people on her. The line went from, she opened like minus 142, I want to say, on Bet Online, Loma.
Yeah.
And now she's like minus what? So that's just a little bit swollen odds for me. I got to go on the other side here and buy back a little bit.
Yeah, I like that one, bro. She's minus what? Loma at the moment is minus what? And
it's absurd, bro. I said it, and I don't want to brag, but I said about Charles Johnson the week before. That was absurd. You said, Radke was absurd. There was a few weeks ago, I hit another one. It was Sean Woodson, and that one, I said was absurd. I don't know. I think Bruna Brazil, I think these odds are absurd.
So do I, man. Like, if she gets on top, we're going to see that Loma's a Muay Thai striker, as we've seen before in the Loopy fight. She did kind of decent for like that type of stylistic fight, but shut up, man.
The thing with Loopy is she doesn't have any submission, like especially back then. It's definitely improved, but she's not a submission threat on top. She's just going to hold you.
Not really. I think Bruna can get a submission in this fight. I think the line's crazy. Someone said here, Grayspan said that Loma has switching camps, and I listened to James Lynch's interview, and I listened to his breakdown on the Die Hard MMA podcast. Shout out to my man Clint, and shout out to James out there, one of the hardest working guys in the sport. You always go to James's YouTube channel for the fighter interviews, right? And he said that Loma switched camps multiple times and stuff, or not multiple times, but she switched camps lately. She's had some rumblings, issues going on. She's not at one base now, which is just an extra piece of volatility in the pie. And I love me some volatility when I'm betting on a plus 240. So, yeah, man, definitely think Brazil's the side here. I'm glad we match up on this one. Makes me a bit more confident. We'll put plus 230 for the Brazil. And it seems like we both don't mind the submission as well. We'll check the line on that.
What do you think about just fight doesn't go the distance, or like Loma KO just in case on the head?
I like that as well. I like that as well.
Advocate.
No. I like that as well. We'll add it in. I mean, the minus 300, she should be getting close to a finish, right? If she ain't, tough for her to cover that line. So I don't mind the ends inside the distance plus 150. I mean, I'd kind of like it to be a little bit more, but we're going to write it down anyway. We cover our bases a little bit there. I do think that Bruna Brazil isn't great fighting in general. I do think she can get finished for sure. So I don't mind it.
KO's taking some action because it was plus 575, now plus 525. So people liking some Loma KO.
Plus 800. All right.
I got that at plus 1200. That's a good line.
Yeah, that's a lovely line.
Yeah.
I don't want to write too much, so I won't write Loma KO. We'll just leave it ends at ITD there for the plus 150. I don't really like going against. We shouldn't really go against ourselves in the parlays. It's just a little bit. I just don't like it.
We both like it, so.
Yeah, I don't really like doing it. Next fight is Kwamba versus Oki. Yeah, bro, so I'll be quick on this one. Obviously, I tape studied this one. I didn't watch too much into it because I had already watched Oki for his previous fight against Hadzovic. I was contemplating placing an over in the Oki versus Hadzovic fight because I feel like a lot of people thought he was going to get a knockout because of his Dana White's Contender Series fight. But Hadzovic is quite tough, to be honest. The way you beat him is by taking him down. I thought that's what he was going to do. But anyway, this is a different fight. I bet on Kwamba in his Dana White's Contender Series matchup. He was plus 150 or plus 160 there. He won a controversial decision. I believe that plus 160 was easily the right side in that spot. So I don't really care if he lost the fight or not. I think I scored it for Vogel, round 2 and round 3. But I'm a gambler, so I don't really give a shit. I don't think Vogel covered minus 200, nowhere near. So I was happy betting on Kawamba there. That was a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. A 50-50 fight that should have gone to Vogel. Even though Vogel should have won the fight, it can still be a 50-50 fight with a clear winner. I think overall it's 50-50. Anyway, enough on that one. He's got very good footwork. I think Oki might struggle with the footwork here. I think Oki might gas out here. Yes, Kawamba's changing weight class here, but I'm not super worried about it. Yeah, man, I like Kawamba here. What you got to say about this one, bro?
Yeah, Kawamba wasn't on short notice against Vogel there, was he? I just want to make sure. So. No, he wasn't. That was a different fight on that card. I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The thing with Oki, man, I'm just not really like I think the style here to beat Kawamba is to grapple against him, and I don't know if Balaji Oki is going to have that success here. And if it just becomes a stand-up fight, I really like the hands of Kawamba. He trains at primarily a boxing gym with Dewey Cooper, and he's like one of his main students. We've seen what he has with the Basharats there. I'm not saying this guy's like that same talent, but he's a young kid. He has wrestling chops, previous high school wrestler. And like the guy can box, he's got good pull counters. I think Balaji Oki slows down the longer the fight goes. And I know this one's on like super short notice for Kawamba, but he was just in there and he got a good finish. And it's not as tough of a weight cut. Like that might benefit him here, especially like this one's hometown for him, man. Like I don't know, dude. I think he can pull counter him here, even get a knockout. I like Kawamba here in this spot, money line and knockout.
Yeah, that's an interesting look for the knockout, especially because I think Oki may be gassing out in this fight. Because I feel like he's going to shoot takedowns at some point, Oki, and I think Kawamba's going to stuff him. And we already know, man, when you're wrestling someone who you can't take down, you get tired very quickly. Offensive wrestling is so much more tiring than defensive wrestling. And I feel like we could see a knockout, even not from a pull counter like you said, but I also believe we can see a knockout straight from just gassing out. So I like it on both levels. I like the pull counters. I don't think he has that much power. I mean, he's got, to be honest, I'll retract that. I don't know necessarily how much power he's got. I like to see it at the UFC level with good fighters. I believe that he does have decent power. But yeah, I like it on both sides, the knockout. So we'll have a look at that now.
I don't think he's I think he's got power. I don't think it's crazy power, but I just think it's the placement of his punches. And
yeah, it's one of them.
Yep, good fighter coach connection too. Like I said before, I think he's going to be listening to his corner, and if that's the case, I want that guy.
Brother, we don't have on.
Oh dang. So I think I'll look it up right now. We go on Bet Online. I should just have it up right here.
I'm put it on Best Fight Odds, but it's all fucked up as well. So yeah, check the Bet Online. So what's the money line on Bet Online right now for?
I think it's. I don't know. I got to check. I don't want to misspeak.
Was plus 170, but Bet Online, they moved their lines
quick,
like that.
Yeah, so that's why we got to check. So let's see.
I bet it'll be lower now.
So it's plus 165 right now, which I still think has some value. The under 2.5 sitting at minus 165, and that's all we got. So I like Kawamba here personally.
Oh no, we don't have KO yet.
No, it's not out. It will be out tomorrow, I'm guessing.
All right. They got us there. All good, bro. Next fight we have is Giles versus Prates. I think Prates is a good fighter, and I think Giles is a fade. He's getting older. I know he's only 31, but in fight years, he's about 36, 37. He was doing a lot 10 years ago in MMA, to be honest. Maybe not 10 years ago, maybe like 6, 7 years ago. He was doing a lot at different weight classes. Now, he's had a lot of fights, in MMA, and I think his MMA years are older than he actually is. He's been chinned a good few times. He's been finished so many times. Yes, it could be a square play where the Dana White's Contender Series fighter is overvalued against the UFC veteran. We've seen it time and time again. I don't believe it is in this one. I think Prates is going to chin him. I think he's going to knock him out within the first 2 rounds. I think he's the better striker. I think he's very clean. I like him. I like the way he picks his shots. I also like the way he stalks his opponents. He's also a very big guy for the weight class. He has very long reach. And I think he's going to get a knockout here. Giles, I can't trust him too much. He's been wobbled. He's been dropped in many fights. Even in fights he wins, sometimes he comes through some adversity. I remember the James Krause fight, he was still in trouble there. Like, that's a long while ago. But, I mean, he's just the type of fighter that gets himself in trouble where he doesn't need to be. So maybe the veteran lesson happens and UFC jitters take hold of Prates. But I believe Prates is a good fighter. He's 30 years old. He's weathered in MMA. He actually has more fights than Giles, or the same amount of fights. So it's not like this guy's a 8-0 UFC newcomer who's never really had adversity. He's been beat many times before. Yeah, man, I like Prates in this spot. I like Prates KO, round 1, round 2, all of that jazz. What about you, bro?
Yeah, so that was like one of the legs I 100% was going to come in here. And if you didn't say it, I was getting it off. Prates by KO has to be in a parlay. I saw it at -115. Square or not, I don't care. I got to put that in. He's probably going to knock him out, bro. Well, why wouldn't I put that in? Now, is it going to be in round 1 or round 2? I don't know. And I don't know if there's going to be value on putting the money on both. So I like the KO just straight, but we can look into those as well.
Yeah, I will say as well, like, Giles does have a bit of a tendency to slow down and just make mistakes the more tired he gets. Drevin Giles has been finished in round 3 a good few times. So, like, even though I believe that, do you remember he had like a streak of getting finished in round 3 multiple times? Let me go back. Yeah, yep. So he had the free round 3 finishes. He finished someone in round 3, and then the next 2 fights he got finished in round 3. So he had that streak of round 3 finishes there. Obviously, he does make mistakes as it gets a little bit later on in fights. So I wouldn't be surprised if Prates got a late KO. I just think it's going to come round 1 or round 2. So we'll have a look at the odds for this one, bro. We got Prates at -250. I know it's horrible, but I ain't putting Jack. I don't know, man. I think if anything, it's accurate. So we'll just write Prates. Prates KO is -115. They're not giving us good prices, but like,
I think that's the play right there, and I think that's it. I mean, we could go Prates round 1, but I just don't see the value in it.
Yeah,
only
200
plus 300, bro.
KO round 1, yeah.
Like, I think that's what's gonna happen, but I don't think it's worth it, man.
Yeah, if Bet Online did like a couple KO round 1, round 2,
even then, like you said, it could come in round 3 though, and then we get burned. Like, I'd rather just take the KO and not get burned, bro.
Yeah, but it depends on the line, right? Like, if they was giving me 200 KO 1-2, I honestly would take that over.
Of course,
me personally, but
we ain't getting that.
Probably not.
No,
you can't get it on Bet Online anyway. So yeah, man, we'll just leave it as that. Prates KO -115 and Prates 250. Bulo saying he's personally fading the Dana White's Contender Series fighter, convincing me to go otherwise. Hey, bro, like, if you've got a read, that's what you want to do. Stick to your own read, man. Because even if we're right, you're going to forget about the times that we're right. You're going to remember the time when someone convinced you to not do it, and you're going to be very pissed off at yourself. So again, I always speak about the mental aspect of gambling. And one of the most important things, if you're betting yourself, because you can always tail professional guys, right? A lot of people tail me and they make ridiculous amount of money for it, right? Like, I've been making people make cash for years. And I don't bet on other sports with my own analysis. I tail other pros. So there's nothing wrong with tailing. I literally do it. And that's what all pros do anyway. They tail other pros, their friends in their networks. So tailing is fine. But if you're betting yourself, don't let someone else like change your mind, because, like I said, the mental aspect of gambling is so important. And your mental is going to be fucked if your fighter wins, but you didn't bet it because someone told you not to. And you don't want to fuck your mental, bro, because it's the only thing you have and it's going to help you make good bets. So, yeah, don't let us convince you to go otherwise. Andrew saying, random memory, I remember dropping 500 on Nunes to knock out the living corpse of Felicia Spencer. That fight went to decision as well, right? That was crazy, man. Unlucky for you, bro, is what it is. We move. We'll get it all back this week, bro. Prates isn't some random Dana White's Contender Series scrub. He's a legit guy. In my opinion, he is. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Next fight of the night is Adolfo Vieira versus Armin Petrosian. So kick off the main card, and I'll take this one away. I think this Adolfo's fight to lose. I think Adolfo has got the clear grappling upside in this fight. I mean, obviously. I think the best way to put this fight is that, first of all, Armin gives his back. Second of all, Armin gets taken down all the time. But the main thing is that the gap on the ground is much wider. No, I won't say that. The finishing ability on the ground is much wider than the finishing ability on the feet, in my opinion. So I think that Rodolfo is going to have a chance to finish this fight in round 1, 2, or 3, where I think Petrosian, he kind of has to hit like a highlight reel knockout, head kick or something, or have Rodolfo gas completely, which is possible to win the fight. So I like Rodolfo in this spot. I guess I like Rodolfo submission. I have to kind of look at the odds there, but I'm picking Rodolfo. What do you think, bro? I think we might be against each other in this one. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I do like Armin Petrosian here, just due to the fact that if he doesn't get finished, we haven't seen him necessarily. I don't believe he's been finished in the UFC. I know he hasn't faced Adolfo Vieira. Like, that's way different of a stylistic matchup, but Adolfo Vieira doesn't have the best takedowns, in my opinion, and his striking's just a little bit lackluster to get there. We've seen him gas out in the past. I think the cardio is the thing is like his cardio. I think it's not as bad as people make it out to seem. I think he can suffice. Like, the dude went 3 rounds with Chris Curtis, was shooting crazy amount of takedowns. So he definitely slows down, but I don't think it's every fight is going to wind up like the fluffy fight. Yeah, man, I want to see what Vieira by KO is, because I think he could ground and pound him here as well. KO is plus 850. I think that's live. KO 1 plus 2,000. I think those are a bit wide for a guy who's going to have a big advantage on the mat if it does hit there. So I kind of do agree with you there. But if this fight's standing, I think the clear advantage here for Petrosian is going to be hurt. Is going to be there, and I think he's going to hurt Vieira as well.
Yep, fair enough. Yeah, the thing about Vieira TKO, the guy just loves submissions, man.
Right.
Like, he's always trying to push the submission. He's the black belt hunter, you know. Like, it's just tough to trust him to get a KO. But, bro, we see it a lot. Like, we see these things happen a lot, right?
Everybody's on the sub. That's my thing, and I just try to find a way to go contrarian. Usually, that's all.
Yeah.
Then again, it's also Super Bowl weekend, and the books just might not care. They might give every square play out this week and just say, "Here, have fun."
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it with I'm just gonna leave it with Vieira as pick 'em. I ain't gonna add anything. We don't have to add something. We don't need to force it. We're actually not gonna force it. So we'll move on. Michael Johnson versus Darius Flowers, bro. I don't like this fight. It's a weird ass fight. Michael Johnson is tough to trust him at any time. He wins fights that he shouldn't, and he loses fights that he shouldn't. This is definitely a fight he shouldn't lose, but Flowers definitely has power. He definitely has a lot of pace and pressure. Outside of round 1, Flowers doesn't look good. I might bet on Flowers KO 1-2 or something, just because it seems like a system play. Outside of that, I'm picking Michael Johnson to win the fight for sure. I think Michael Johnson is the money line side for sure. Minus 140, I believe. That's better than plus 120 on Flowers. Should be a striking fight, and Michael Johnson's the better striker. Flowers got power. That's about it. What do you think, bro?
Yeah, it's just tough for me to bet a guy at plus 105 when I think his path to victory is just a knockout. But then again, on the other side, Michael Johnson's chin might just be completely gone at this point. And there's been a few times where we thought this guy was done in the UFC. So I'm definitely not going to bet him now. I don't know his exact age, but he's another one of those dudes like Giles, just fighter years, right? Kind of added up. So I have to go Flowers here, pass. I just can't trust the durability of Johnson at this age, even though I do think he's obviously the better fighter. That's not to be questioned. The guy's fought veterans. He's beat guys like Dustin Poirier. Yeah, man. I think Flowers finds a knockout here. Johnson, I think it's over for him. But then again, like I said, we said that time and time again. He's came out and proven us wrong. He's the toughest guy to guess on, bro. I'm not betting him unless I'm surefire. Like Alan Patrick, I bet him, and I still was sweating at minus 150.
What do you think the money line side is?
Pass.
Okay, so it's accurate.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've written down Johnson here because I feel like if you have to bet a money line, you bet him because this guy could win in any round or decision.
He's the better fighter.
It could potentially be accurate as well. I would never bet Johnson, but I think
he's more comfortable at the weight class. This is new for Flowers.
No, that's another thing. Flowers is coming down another weight class. I mean, I don't even know how he's going to look on the scales. Like, there's a lot of guesses. I will say though, Flowers KO1 at plus 450 is kind of nice. I don't know how you feel about that, but
I agree. I think that's probably his path, and I think
you think he can
chance.
get around too?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Especially if the weight cut goes good for him and his cardio winds up looking good. Like he didn't look like he looked kind of like he had some fat on him in the last fight. Still, he might just be a guy that's taking it more serious now. So absolutely, I think it could come in round two.
So we'll write the KO there as well, just because it covers up for all rounds.
I think Johnson pieces him for a round and like a minute, and then gets clipped by just some bullshit and goes to sleep.
Yeah. That sounds exactly what's going to happen.
And people are going to live bet him. People are going to live bet Johnson. Live bet Johnson. Oh, there goes my money.
Yeah, man. It's the same story with him a lot, man. Like Stevie Ray fight, even that was just a bad look for him.
I actually, now that we just talked about it, I like Flowers round 2 knockout. I like Flowers round 2.
Yeah.
I think they let the live market just
So the next fight, Brad Tavares versus Gregory Rodriguez. I've gone back and forth with this fight. And as I always say, when I go back and forth, usually I should pass. I've come away thinking that Gregory Rodriguez is going to finish him brutally. I think that he's going to be able to get on the inside. I think that he's going to be able to land one of his knockout punches. And Gregory doesn't have, I don't think he has a lot of knockouts in the UFC. I think he's got one over Jun Young Park. Outside of that, he doesn't have a knockout in the UFC. Like, he always rocks people. He always seems like he might get a knockout in the UFC. Okay, so he got a ground and pound win over Chidi Njokwani. That was a crazy fight. That was also a knockout. But I guess I was thinking kind of on the feet, you know. Obviously, finished Dennis Tululin. I know that. I'm thinking like on the feet, right? Obviously, he could get on top. Knockout on the feet. He has some TKO finishes. But the knockout on the feet I was thinking of was the Jun Young Park fight. But I feel like even though he hasn't really like got many knockouts on the feet, I feel like we could see that here. That's what I'm saying. I feel like he may be able to just dead Brad Tavares, kind of like Bruno Silva did. Now, I will also say Brad Tavares could just land a knockout on Gregory because Gregory's got some dodgy-ass chin. We've seen Jordan Williams knock him out. That's all I need to know. We've seen Jun Young Park almost knock him out. That's all I need to know. We've seen in Bruno for, like, you know what I mean? Like, the pattern is there. I see people arguing all the time that RoboCop doesn't have a bad chin. And I'm like, bro, like, come off my stream or just like, I don't know, man. I don't like to be rude, but because the thing is, MMA is very subjective. You don't know MMA. You don't even know, like, you don't have any common sense if you think RoboCop doesn't have a bad chin. Yes, sometimes he shows a good chin, but sometimes he shows a horrific chin. His chin is very volatile. He's got a bad chin. He could get knocked out by anyone, a gust of wind. But he could also go toe-to-toe with Armin Petrosian, right? So it's just a bit of a weird chin. But Petrosian doesn't have any knockouts in the UFC either. So anyway, guys, I think that Gregory Rodriguez is going to get a finish here. I'm going to bring up the odds while you take this one away, bro. What do you reckon?
Club and sub, my guy. Tavares, I agree with you. The durability is just, it ain't there no more, bro. I think he went close with Weidman. I think Weidman was having success. I don't think Weidman should have even been in there after that surgery and the age he's at. Yeah, man, I know this is hometown for Tavares, but I think Rodriguez comes back here. He's a really exciting fighter too, man. Like, every time this guy's in the ring, in the octagon, he's must-watch TV. So I think the UFC sees that. He's my side here personally on the money line. I don't know if I would want to risk it, but I think the sub at plus 750's been taking some action. And like I said, if he's going to rock him, I think it could go into a scramble. He hasn't had a win by submission, I don't think, in the UFC yet. That's something he's probably thinking of, especially as a black belt. I think he's going to go out and prove it here, get a submission victory via rear naked choke or arm triangle.
I like it, bro. I like it a lot, actually. I like the submission. I'll probably be taking a poke on that myself. And I've wrote ITD there just so we can be a little bit less risky.
People forget, like, how good, like, a few years ago, this would have been, like, a bet for everybody. I feel like, oh, RoboCop, he's got the jiu-jitsu, you know, like, I think just people forget. I know the guy could be a little boneheaded in his mistakes, but he truly does have good jiu-jitsu, and I think if he gets on top of Brad, I know Brad has really, really good takedown defense, but if he gets clipped, that don't really mean nothing, you know?
That's the thing. Like, it would probably be more like a club sub, and then I'll be so angry if I played like KO at stupid numbers like 200. So most certainly ITD is better than KO at 200, but then submission's like a nice little sprinkle on top of that. I also like the under 2.5 rounds here. As I said, G-Rod's chin is kind of terrible, and obviously I think that he's actually going to get a finish here. So yeah, man, I like our bets all around there. I think we'll add some of those to parlays for sure. That's one that will definitely be added to a parlay, probably a mix of all of them. The next fight is Pateria versus this Robert dude. I won't say the surname, Brycek. So I don't really like this fight. It's a short notice fight for Ihor. Ihor's dropping to 185 pounds. That just adds more question marks to him. Ihor's quite fast at 205. I don't know if he's going to have the same speed advantage at 185. I don't know, man. He's been taking a lot of steam. Ihor's now plus 120, plus 130. He was at plus 170 at one point. I also think Robert's kind of shit. There may be a system play on Ihor Pateria KO and KO 1 and 2 in this spot, but outside of that, I'm kind of just going to pass on it. I think that this fight definitely finishes, but they ain't giving us any juice. The under 1.5 is like minus 250, so I mean you can't really bet that too much. We saw Ihor's last fight almost went over 1.5 rounds, so I don't know, man. Nothing too much happened in round 1. I mean, at least close to finishing ability. So, yeah, I'm going to pass on the fight all round potentially, but maybe I'll bet Ihor round 1 or I don't know, man. What do you think?
Club and sub, my guy. What's the fight to end inside the distance? Minus 850?
Yeah.
And you're telling me that, like, one of these guys to get a submission is, like, what's Pateria by submission? Last I checked, I think it was plus 1,600.
Well,
that's plus 1,200 for decision. What's submission?
Oh, wow. 16.
Plus 16. And what did bet? And then click on it real quick, Pateria by submission. Well, why did it open plus 950? So people are saying, like, the market, I mean, Bet Online says this is a plus 950. Then the market says this is a plus 1,600. I disagree with the market. If you watched his last fight, Pateria, I was there for it. He looked really good. I had a round 1 sprinkle on him by knockout, and he almost submitted Bellato. I was shitting my pants. He wound up getting in round 2. It's okay. I cashed on Brundage round 1 knockout. But, bro, dude, he's getting a submission here, and I'm parlaying it with G-Rod submission, and I'm going to make some big motherfucking bucks this week. Let's go, James. Let's get this money.
It, bro. I like that a lot. Like you said, this is a smart angle, JB. You're looking at things smart, and what you said stuck out to me. The fight to end inside the distance is minus 800, but they're giving us 1,600s and 1,800s on the submission. I know these guys are not submission guys at all.
Mad.
But the club and sub is live. There was tons of ground and pound and grappling sequences in Pateria's last fight. There definitely could be in this fight as well. I don't mind it. I'm not saying this going to happen outright. Obviously, I favor the KO, but I don't mind it.
Have you seen Brycek on the ground?
Yeah.
It's fucking awful, bro.
Briefly.
It's bad, bro. And like, I think Pateria can make this weight, and people are going to underestimate him coming in on short notice. And like, he's going to probably go for the finish. It's going to end inside the distance. But I just think he could get a choke, man. I don't believe in Brycek, man.
It's kind of annoying because I do think it's going to be KO, and I don't want to miss out if he gets the KO. But I also don't love plus 200 for the ITD. So they kind of got us on the KO lines. The subs like really interesting, but I don't want to miss out on the ITD. It's tough, man. It's kind of annoying.
It's a weird one for sure.
They're not giving us much to work with. What's the fight ends by sub?
They don't have it on Bet Online. That's the crappy part.
Oh, do they not?
No, unfortunately, no. But I do like it. But
I might have to stop using Bet Online because, like, that's available on a good amount of books.
I know, and it's hard to make money on Bet Online, my man.
All right,
but I think we gotta sprinkle that sub in a parlay. I gotta. My palms are itching, brother.
I'm putting Pateria as the money line side, and then I'll I'll write the submission at 1,600 here.
Oh, baby. Okay.
Does he have a submission on his record?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a bunch of them. But against bums, but he has a bunch of them.
I've never seen him get a submission.
Well, there's a choke right there. Heel hook.
Rear naked choke.
Rear naked choke. Go up.
When he was 14-2 against the 0-0.
I know, but he has. You asked me if he's fought a bunch of bums. It was a triangle.
Yeah, I know.
That guy was a bum too, though.
I personally haven't watched any fight where he got a submission, so I was just wondering.
Yeah, it was a triangle that one, but it was against
loads back in the day.
Yeah.
Rear naked, got a heel hook, bro.
Bro got a heel hook.
Come on. Out the heel hook here.
Come on.
Bro, that's like a system play. I think he's going to get a KO, but I might just have to take it, bro.
Dude, most likely he gets the KO. I agree. But
yeah, or he gets KO'd. I think he's dead. I mean, he's going to gas after one round, right?
We don't know because, the weight class, it's
possible. I just feel like his gassing is not really due to weight. You know what I mean? Like, just when I watch it, I just think it's more like a stylistic, genetic thing. I've been watching MMA for a long time. It's tough for me to give like specific reasons, but I could be wrong. It just doesn't seem to me that like he's too big for 205, and so he's gassing out. You know what I mean? I don't really see that. Anyway, Dan Ige versus Andre Fili. I think Dan Ige's the side here. I think he's got a massive durability edge. I think he's got a massive power edge. I think Fili's margins are pretty slim based on the power. I think if Fili wins, he's probably going to have to get back control a couple of times. Not impossible to do, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it on Dan Ige too much. I think Fili's one of them ones where he might be getting off on volume. Few kicks, he'll be landing some kicks, he'll be looking good. But Ige is eventually going to get on the inside and land something big. So I like Dan Ige here. I'm not sure I like knockout or decision. I'll have to look at it, but that's my breakdown. What about you, bro?
Yeah, Sadiq was having some success on top, actually. So you never know. We've seen Dan Ige get a few rear naked chokes in the UFC. I think plus 1,100 on a sub. I know everyone's going to be like, bro, you're literally taking every submission. Not as confident in this one as I was in the last two. But I do think he's live for a submission. But the value to me on this fight, though, is the money line at minus 170. I think he's the better fighter overall. I know you had a little bit of moments with Landwehr, but Landwehr's, people were taking Landwehr in that spot. So I think people will take Fili here again. Ige's performed well as a favorite. I cashed a huge bet on him against Gavin Tucker, probably one of the quickest bets I've ever cashed. I like this guy. He fights everything kind of behind the jab. He mixes in his level feints as well, cuts off the cage really well. I don't think he has crazy wrestling. I think Fili could even probably have success if he tried to wrestle. But all in all, I think Ige is going to be the one to get the job done here at minus 170. It would give me 50K Ige. Not a crazy strong read, but I think he's the value side. And, yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on KO versus decision?
I like submission, actually, for the value, because plus 1,100, I think, is insane, brother. Sadiq was having a lot of success on the mat. And if he turns his back, if Sadiq was just had a little bit better cardio, a little bit more aggression, I don't know, man. If Fili's chin was a little bit better, I just don't know how much I believe in Fili's chin. So I would say KO over the decision, but
I'll write this down for you, bro, because I know you're a little submission.
Well, what's the ITD compared to the KO? We don't necessarily have to take the submission, but just
ITD is 220.
And what's his KO?
230.
Bro, we have to take the ITD over the KO. That's all I'm saying. We don't have to take the sub, but we're not taking the KO. Fair?
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to get a KO decision. That's why I don't think he's going to get a sub. I'm down with the Pateria one. I'm not too down with this one. Like, personally, but it's cool, man.
I just don't. All I'm saying is that, what is it, plus 230 and plus 220? There's no way we take the KO. We have to take the ITD.
You have to be brain dead to do that, right?
Yeah, insane. And there's going to be cappers that fucking tip that this week, James.
Give him a slap. The frauds and the fakes, bro. What a dirty industry. Anyway, we won't go too in depth on that. The boys know So Jack Hermansson versus Joe Pyfer. Can you take this one away while these guys are lawn maxing outside my house and I put my thing?
Oh man, I wish I could read the comments right now. I got to get in there soon. Man, I think Joe Pyfer's the side here. I think he's younger. I think the UFC wants him to win. I think, I think a lot of potential in this guy as well. I think we haven't seen him go the distance, so people don't believe he can go the distance. I think the guy's legit, man. I think Jack's weak. I think he's a little bit of a Greco wrestler when he shoots in on singles. I think Pyfer's going to have the position to just get on top, dump him back on his back, and I think his grappling's way better. Marquez MMA is a gym that I'm a believer in, and I think these guys are just very systematic in their grappling. Pyfer by knockout, I think, is an extremely square play this week, so I'll be going Pyfer by sub, and this is probably one of my more confident sub plays on the card. Because I think Jack's going to get hit with shots and he's going to shoot. And then Pyfer is going to get on top and submit him. He's been talking in interviews about how he likes the submission. I think, the squares aren't going to play the submission. And I don't think the sharps are going to want to play the submission because it was plus 750 last time. How do I bet it now? Plus 375. Well, he's a better grappler, one, and Hermansson's been submitted before. And you're telling me he was plus 750 sub against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, and now he's only plus 375 against a guy who's a better grappler. Make it make sense that the books are telling you what's about to happen. So I think it's going to be a rear naked choke, but it could be an arm triangle. Hermansson's going to shit the bed round 2 or round 3. I think Pyfer's too strong, and that's my read on this fight, man. I like Pyfer money line minus 240. I think value on that, and I think he does it by submission.
Yeah, so I'm on the other side here. I haven't made a bet on Jack Hermansson. I don't think he's going to win the fight, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't looking at it. It might be a trap, or it could look like the best bet in the world. This could be a Mike Malott situation.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I just want everybody to keep this in mind this weekend. The Super Bowl is this weekend, and if Pyfer wins, even if there's all the money, and I know this might have nothing to do with your handicap, there's just something to keep in mind this weekend when you're trying to be contrarian. The books just might not care, man. They might not really care this weekend because there's a way bigger sport, which could actually cause for them to not pay attention to these lines and there be value on some books. So keep that in mind. I think this will be an easier week actually to beat the books since their focus isn't on MMA. It's going to be on the Super Bowl, no question. So that's my last point on that. But go ahead, my fault.
Yeah, that's good, bro. So, I don't want to spend too long on this because there's a lot I could say. Joe Pyfer's done nothing in the sport. We don't know how good he is. We can assume, but we don't know. We can assume, but we don't know, boys. You're going to hear breakdowns this week. You're going to hear people say this, people say that. Just understand that there's a lot of unknowns on Joe Pyfer right now. I've seen him gas out horrendously against Jonathan, whatever his name was, get submitted there. One of the worst performances I've seen ever. I mean, the way he collapsed was very, very bad. Hermansson has very good cardio. If Joe Pyfer doesn't get him out there in 2 rounds, I think he's going to struggle badly. I think Hermansson's going to take over badly. But I also think Hermansson is kind of like an easy stylistic for Joe Pyfer. Stylistic matchup, meaning that Hermansson doesn't really pose much danger, man. Pyfer's going to be able to walk forward, play his pressure game, and line him up into some big straight hands or overhands. I think Pyfer's the much better striker here. I think Jack Hermansson has this new style where he kicks on the outside and he likes to poke at his opponent, but he has no danger. I think Pyfer's going to be able to walk forward into range easily. The only thing I'm worried about there is potentially the leg kicks. Jack has obviously thrown a lot of leg kicks. Pyfer has ate a lot of leg kicks we've seen. But I think Pyfer's going to be able to land some big shots early. I don't think there's a world in which he doesn't do that. So obviously, it's just does he get a finish with that or not? If he doesn't, though, I think he's in big trouble. Minus 240, 50, 60 Joe Pyfer is not it. I think it's not good. But I don't know if I have the guts to take Jack Hermansson here. I'm still deciding, boys. That's my breakdown on the fight. I ain't really going to talk too much outside of that. I'm not going to put a money line down because me and Line Mover disagree a little bit, and it's just we don't need to. We don't need to force a minus 240. It ain't going to add much in. Plus 210, we've already got some dogs that we can go on, and I'm not even confident I'm going to play it myself. In terms of the inside the distance props, I don't mind Pyfer submission, 375. I'm going to write that down just because I've seen Jack submitted by a dirty arm triangle before. I've just seen Pyfer get an arm triangle. Let's go the square route and say that that's going to happen again. It definitely could. I think the club and sub is live. I think the sub in general is live. I think Pyfer is very physical on the ground. I don't know if Jack is that good from bottom. He's very good from top. So I'm going to add the submission because you like it, and I actually don't mind it either. I think it's better than KO.
I think you made a good point on the round prop, maybe even just because we haven't really seen Pyfer in rounds 3, 4, 5 push too deep. And like I am on the other side, but just to play devil's advocate here, like what's Hermansson round 3 plus 1100? I mean,
we need the 3, 4, 5 though, man, because it's just tough to put
right.
To anchor an entire parlay on a round. I mean, we can. Like I had a really strong read on Jillian round 2 and Jasmine round 3, but I don't have a super strong read. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a strong read on this one. It could definitely come in round 4. It could definitely come in round 3. It already came in round 2 against Patty. It's just a bit of a weird one for me.
Fair.
I might just leave it at that, bro. Let's do let's go and do the let's go to the fun part. So we'll do some money lines first. I think one money line that I want to add straight away because we both liked it is Kawamba. Another money line I want to add with Kawamba is what else was we both on? We both was on Brazil.
That is one for sure.
Should we just see what that is? And if you don't mind, can you help me with the calculation?
Parlay odds calculator, yes. So, all right.
Just tell me what we're sitting at for the plus 230 to plus 165, because that's going to be pretty decent. We could just leave it at that.
I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that should be our first parlay right there. I don't mind that.
We start slow. Then we're going to have some fucking 100 to 1s for you soon. We already know that.
Oh, yeah, baby. All right. So, there's no unit size, right? We're just going for the odds. Yeah. So, here we go. All right.
600, I think.
165 plus 230. We get plus 774, my guy.
That's nice, bro. That's huge. That's huge. For two, that's a 2-legger. It's almost 7.5 to 1. That's big, bro.
Yeah, got to get 2 dogs, but I think they're both live. So we both think they're both live. So
yeah.
You know what happens.
What other money lines we got here? Should we put in some? Maybe we'll do a couple of favorites and then add a dog
onto that parlay, or a new parlay.
No, I mean like another parlay, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
We'll see.
I like Prada's KO. We both really liked Prada's KO.
Yeah, we'll put that in with Clark money line. Bit of a weird setup with the minus 225, but it's not too bad. We'll add something else to this one. What do we like?
Under 2.5 for the Rodriguez fight was one we were both on.
Yeah, that's quite nice, bro. I like that actually. That's plus money as well, plus 2. So what does that work out to? We got minus 115, plus 100, plus 225.
All right. So minus 225, which is still value.
Yeah.
Minus 115. KO, and then plus 100, right? Oh yeah. Oh that's yeah. Decent. Guys, hold on. I thought my phone died for a second. Hold on. Plus 440.
Is that it?
That's one. Yeah, that's not bad though. But
no, it's cool.
You want to make? We could add Ige money line. We both like that one as well, which would make it to a plus 758.
Get
greedy? Do we get greedy?
I feel you, bro. Should we get greedy?
I think we get greedy.
A 4-legger. All right, say nothing. We'll do the 4-legger there. Plus, what did you say?
758.
We got greedy, boys. It might cost us, but we ain't here.
If it did cost us, blame it on me. Blame it on me.
Easy, bro. That's an easy out for me. All right. Vieira, Johnson, Should we just delete Johnson because it's like, fuck
Dude,
that
I'm
guy.
not betting on that fucker ever.
Fuck that guy. Let's go ahead and delete some, innit? Because some of these shit ones. Vieira, you don't really like Vieira, right?
You know, we got a lot of money lines, and I would say it's best to just leave him out. I mean, it's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vieira, Wells, Guskov. I don't really like any of these, really, as in money line plays.
Yeah, it's rough. It is rough.
Garcia, Arichi Lang. I don't like any of these money line plays. Let's do a play without a money line.
I do like that under 2.5 in that Garcia fight.
Yeah.
That's kind of just staring at me.
Yeah, it's true. We'll do this one. All right. So the Garcia under 2.5. We need to parlay this with
Brazil ends inside the distances there as well. Flowers knockout.
The Brazil fight, ITD. What else we got? Guskov, yeah, that's a bit specific.
Clark KO, Clark ITD was there as well.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Clark ITD? I kind of like that.
What was it, though? I couldn't. It's a little bit small. It's in a smaller font.
Plus 210. So we'll go.
Small font for the win.
Yeah, bro. Plus 210 and plus 185. That's kind of nice, bro. What we saying there? Just 2-leg parlay.
Plus 784.
We got a lot of sevens. We'll stick with the sevens. Got a lot of sevens. We'll stick with that. It might be a good sign. 7 is a lucky number, as they always say, isn't it? 7's a lucky number, bro.
All right, guys. I got to do this one, man, because we talked about it before.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was one round last time, James. One freaking round. So this time, we just ain't getting greedy with the rounds, my man. We just ain't getting greedy with the rounds. I learned my lesson. You already knew what it was. It was always G-Rod by submission, by submission. Take it to the bank, my guys.
Jeez.
That's a JB banger right there.
And you know what? We kick it off with another 7 plus 750. I'm feeling good about this one. I'm feeling like this could be one of the biggest parlays that we've ever hit. It would be the biggest. We got
14,350. A little bit less than the last one, but I learned my lesson. I ain't getting greedy this time.
Tell me one more time, bro. 14,350.
Yes, sir.
Woo!
Yes, sir.
143 to 1. If we hit this, we're forever in the Hall of Fame, and you better be sent. I don't know, man. Send me some chocolates out to New Zealand, and you better send some Cali packs out to Texas for my boy JB.
Dude, I made so much money the last time we came on this stream too, and
yeah, man,
I really appreciate it, man.
I like that.
We got more though. We got more.
Yeah, we ain't done yet. We've only done 4. It's light work. So, I mean, we kind of like the Brazil. We might as well just get a bit crazy. We've already got crazy. I'm in the crazy mood. I've turned degenerate now. Brazil sub plus 800. And then we're going to do another sub. Or should we go Clark KO 375 with the Brazil sub?
I love it.
I kind of like that, you know. Because, bro, Brazil gets this fight down to the ground. Let me tell you something. We could see levels. And Clark KO, I mean, Pacquiao's chin is waiting to be cracked. We've seen Petrino didn't do it, even though I think he could. And Clark, he can crack, man. I know he don't have too many knockouts, but the boy can crack. So we got a plus 800 and a plus 375. What are they giving us there?
Plus 39.50. Sheesh.
Plus 39.50. Damn, bro.
That's good. On a 2-leg parlay, that's a banger right there. And that's not even asking that much.
Nah, man. Just little ITD pokes. All right, we're getting down to kind of like the bare bones now. There's not really too much more that I'm loving here.
How many parlays did we make last time?
Like 7, 6, 7.
Really?
7, yeah.
How many do we have right now?
So we've got 5 done.
Okay.
So Guskov KO 1 or Guskov KO. We stick with the KO, man, because But the money line is 109. Like, we probably should just play that, man. Plus 135 to plus 110. It's like, it's not really enough, man.
Were we not on Flowers KO as well?
Yeah, Flowers KO is possible. Flowers KO 450, KO 200. All right, this one's, I don't really like this one, boys, but like we'll see. I'll leave them there just in case. I mean, Wells' decision is right there. I don't like Wells' money line. Fuck.
Okay, so Wells' decision plus 200. Bang.
Flowers KO plus 200. And Guskov's dirty though.
Dirty. Yeah, he is. That topology picture of both of them is probably the best dual topology photo I've ever seen.
What about G-Rod ITD over Guskov KO?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I think
like
that's way better of a play.
I think he gets the finish, bro.
He's a better fighter, and like there's definitely KO equity that we're not getting with the sub, which we both agree with. So I think that should be.
I do feel a bit dirty with the Flowers KO and the Wells decision, though. I'm not saying we can't use it, but like just speaking
get that.
out loud.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know. Wells' decision kind of.
Well, let's see what else we got anyway. Prater's, yeah, okay, but we ain't getting much there. Flowers KO 1. We'll remove that one. Pateria money line. Ige, I don't like Ige ITD, man.
Okay.
Philly's tough. I think he can do it. Pyfer sub, again, it's very specific. I don't love it. I think he can get a knockout. We'll leave it, man. Brazil fight ends ITD. We've got a couple already on Brazil. I'm kind of inclined to just like. I'm kind of inclined to just fade Loma a little bit.
I'm gonna say, dude, honestly, I think we could just leave it at that, bro. Maybe do one more money line parlay. I think we got 5 good ones, bro.
I mean,
don't force it.
What about that?
All right, plus 130, plus 200, plus 200. We'll add that one in, and then we got to do a 7th one because that's 7. You know what I mean? Plus 130, plus 200, plus 200.
Yeah, it's dirty. I don't love it, but
plus 1970. It's kind of mid for a 3-leg parlay. Asking all that, but you know what? Add it in.
Almost 20 to 1 is decent though.
That's not bad.
20 to 1.
We had some better ones, but you know what? This is our like lower confidence, right? Let's do Vieira, man. Let's do Vieira. You didn't like the KO, so we didn't add that one in. It was plus 850. I kind of liked it, but.
What about the money line parlay? Just these 3 here. Yeah, it won't be that good. Won't be that good. I don't want to bet a Ricci line, to be honest, bro.
That's fine. Take that one out of there. Over, we could maybe pass on as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you like Garcia?
I don't.
How much are they giving us for this? Plus 142, minus 118, minus 250.
What about the over 2.5 in the Marcos versus Ricci line?
True. That's right there. Yeah, I do like it.
Okay.
Add the minus 185. What are we getting for that 4-legger? Like, surely they're giving us 4 to 1. 4 to 1, surely.
I can't see it now. Where'd it go? Here. I saw minus 185. Okay, minus 118. That was it. And then minus 250.
Yeah.
Plus 864. That's not bad.
Oh, that's clean, bro. That's a lot.
That covers our round 2 products as well, and just any subs is.
Because boys, like I'm not trying to give you 2 to 1 parlays here. You know what I'm saying? Right. I ain't no. The worst parlay, the shittest parlay we gave out. What I mean by that is the lowest odds is plus 758. I mean, we're talking. We only should hit this once every 7.5 times. So technically, we shouldn't hit one of these parlays because we've only got 7, and the smallest odds is 7.5, right? So we shouldn't hit any of these this week, but wouldn't, man. We're sharp. We're better than the odds suggest. That's why we're betting on them, because we don't make them 758. We make them 558 or whatnot, which means we should hit one this week. So I'm confident in it, bro. I feel like we've done enough for the boys there. That's 7 parlays. One of them is insanity. And then we've got a couple crazy ones. So, yeah, I'm happy with that, bro. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel like everybody on here should hit that like button right now. Go to your
Bang.
website. Go sign up. Go follow me on Twitter, MMA Line Mover. Go follow me on Instagram, MMA Line Mover. And when we win this money this weekend, you just at least send me a message and say, send me your bet slip. Send me maybe a little bit of money as well. Your boy could, anything helps. When we're hitting 100 and something to ones for free.
Bro, you got to send, if we hit this, got to send JB, Venmo him a couple dollars so he can get some Cali packs and smoke it live on stream with me.
Just at least send me the bet slip, because I'll have, I'll be winning money on the fights as well. I already won a bunch of money from 2 episodes ago or whatever it was.
We're killing it, bro. Like, the actual ROI for this live stream is 200%. So, people flexing their 10% ROIs on Bet MMA. We're at 200% right now, Line Mover. Like, this show is 200% ROI. So I know it's only been 3 episodes. All right. But it's cool, man. We're gonna keep some high ROI. We know that.
Yep, because it's gonna be over 1,000 this weekend. After.
Exactly.
So
I'm gonna just show you all of the legs of the parlay. So boys, either screen record this, screenshot, whatever it is. My man Dixon Sider is saying show each parlay one last time. So the first parlay, we got Timothy Kawamba and Bruno Brazil, 2-leg parlay there. Second parlay, Clark moneyline, Prates KO, G-Rod versus Tavares under 2.5 rounds, and Ige moneyline. Third parlay, Garcia versus Emil under 2.5 rounds, Devin Clark inside the distance. Fourth parlay, G-Rod, Gregory Rodriguez submission, Ihor Peteria submission, the Insanity parlay, the JB parlay. Parlay 5 is Bruno Brazil submission and Clark KO. Parlay 6, Gregory Rodriguez inside the distance, Flowers KO, Wells decision, a dirty parlay, but one of them ones that probably going to cash just because it's dirty. And the last and final parlay, Prates moneyline, Vieira moneyline, Peteria moneyline, and the Marcos over 2.5 rounds. Daniel Marcos.
That's a cash.
That's it, boys. Parlay Madness number 4 live stream done for you. I appreciate everyone for being here. As I always say, I have the service on my website, lucrativemabetting.com, if you want to find out more about me, or sign up to my VIP service and get all of my official bets. We crush the line movement every single week, and we make money every single week. But if not, I appreciate you being here. Please hit the like button. Throw a comment after the live stream is done. Not a comment in the chat, an actual comment, so it helps me with the algorithm. And that's it, man. I appreciate it, bro. Raj is saying he appreciates us. Solid to see you again, JB 2.0. That's me and you, bro. Double JB, back to back. We only need James Bond to make the trio now. I might have to come in, pull up in my Aston for the next live stream with a little black suit, tuxedo,
That's a fact.
English James Bond style. Hope to see you back again soon. Great insight. Much love, man. That's it. JB, if you got anything more you want to say before I get you out of it.
Nah, man, I'm about to go have a nice steak dinner, dude. Good luck this weekend.
All right. Good luck, boys. See you soon.
That was a good one, man.